Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Oh, this is crazy. Like, you said, like, we act like Puritans, but yet long you don't get away with our entertainment, we let you do whatever you want to do.
Well, see, that's it. We think more of entertainment than we do of our freedom. A point I bring up lately is, when's the last time anybody involved in black liberation or civil rights got assassinated?
It's been a while.
50 years since King.
Right. Even Fred Hampton, it would be 50 years in December. I mean,
I know. So it's been 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them have just been rap artists, athletes, generally entertainers that deliver the distraction. See, when you talk entertainment, you have to keep in mind that there are two types.
Mm-hmm.
Shakespeare, Greco-Roman plays, a John Wayne movie, the shaman sitting around the bonfire outside of the mouth of the cave or the teepee or the hovel. He told a story about human nature, but he made it interesting so people paid attention to it. That was one type of entertainment. That's good. Then there's another type that Julius Caesar talked about. He said to control the mob, that is the common man, feed him and entertain him. He said give them bread and circuses. And if you feed them and entertain them, they won't care what the hell you do. So that's what most of the entertainment does now. It functions as a distraction. See, you've got Comcast with Xfinity cable. You seen that crap with Tyler Perry talking about Medea's family funeral? And that fool tranny is in there talking smack about how many husbands, men she done buried or whatever in the hell that thing is. And we buy into that. That is nothing but glorification of dysfunction, and we buy it. I did not want to go see the latest Shaft movie.
Why?
Because I just thought it was another black exploitation one. But somebody talked me into going. And it was a great movie.
Really?
They actually started talking about the kind of stuff we're talking about right now.
Interesting.
What happens when a mama raises a boy and for her own reasons tries to keep the boy away from daddy and gives him a false impression about what his dad's about. It's interesting.
I know a lot of women, not going to say a lot, but I have heard of stories from men of women turning their children against them. And these are good guys. They be good guys. They provide the best way they can, but...
Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a line in there where one of the elder Shafts tells the youngest one when he disarms these folk and gives them some guns and said, here, we're going to need these. So the dude is all fussy about them and he throws them out the window. So when Dad says, where are the guns? He says, I don't like guns. I threw them out of the window. Dad said, you damn fool, there are children around here. You want one of them to get a hold of one?
So he wasn't thinking like a logic, he was thinking with his emotions, like a female.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a man trainer that needs to be amplified. That is something. It's just such an interesting time. It's like people just can't, it's like people can't stand a person to have their own point of view on things. Like not going with the crowd, being your own person, thinking critically is not encouraged. It's like, you get bullied for having a different point of view. It is very fascinating right now. What do you think about OJ joining social media to get his point of view out? What do you think about that?
Why not?
I agree. But people still don't got the goods on the OJ. I mean, all you gotta do is do a Google search and do your own research or whatever. And people still don't got the right idea of what really happened with the O.J. Simpson trial, what that really was about.
Well, here's what it was about.
Okay.
What do you think of Nancy Grace? She's a sleaze, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's a degenerate.
Allegedly
degenerate.
A lying, degenerate, vile sleaze.
Allegedly, yes, sir.
No, that's a fact.
I hear you.
I called her that to her face.
Okay.
Or at least while she was on air, and I was on air too. I was sitting in front of Larry King, and she was in another city.
Mm-hmm.
But check this out. What most people don't realize is even though the typical white or black person in America thinks Nancy Grace is a sleaze, she's the one that was the reporter who was supposedly present through the whole trial and gave the American public a lie that O.J. was guilty.
Mm-hmm.
She would say the evidence is overwhelming. She said that over and over. And I taped every crap of it because it was televised.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at it after hearing that, I said, wait a minute. That's not bad for the defense. It doesn't get any better than that. What the hell is she talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But you see, she misled with her lying self the whole public on what was going on because she was trying to get a job. That was her first Hollywood job.
She got put on. Yeah.
See, what did Adolf Hitler's boys say? Tell a lie one time, it's a lie. Tell it 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. Tell a lie long enough, loud enough, and often enough, and you can get anybody, even a reasonable person, to accept it. And we heard for week after week that lying Nancy Grace mislead the public on what happened in the trial. It's no wonder they believed that he did it outside of racism.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, a good friend of mine got called out of state. He got called as an expert in killing with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
And he went out there, they took him out on the scene. Well, first off, did anybody look at this? So you got two sets of prints here. One's a size 9.5, and the other one's a size 10, or something like that, or 9 and a 10.5. Yeah, that was it. And OJ wears a size 12.
Okay.
He said, and to do what you showing me, there had to be two people who did it. And one of them had to be left-handed and OJ's right-handed. And if he did what you accused him of, he ain't getting on any airplane 2 hours later.
Yeah, the timeline don't work. It does not work.
No. That's what he gave them a statement on. It would take hours for him to clean himself up after committing.
That's all that blood, yeah. I mean, but I just it's weird. It's like we live in a twilight zone where you can show all these facts of a case and people still don't understand. They still thinking about it from an emotional point of view.
Here's the thing. Where do we get our truth from? Television.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we get our fiction from? Television.
Mm.
We have lost the ability to tell which one's fiction and which one's truth.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been convinced and conditioned to take fiction as truth to the extent where we're so used to it, we don't know whether it's fiction or it's the truth.
This could be the news, so-called news that we're talking about, not just the movie of the week.
Well, yeah, but the new news is different from the old-time news. You know what it is?
What is?
The new news is entertainment.
Mm.
CNN and then Fox went to 24/7. There's not enough news that goes on to have 24/7 news. So you have to make it an entertainment. You have to have speculation and suspense to get people to stay tuned so your ratings go up and stay up. So what you get as news these days is 9 out of 10 times what amounts to historical fiction. You know, World War II is a fact, but it's like a novel where it's set in World War II. The characters are fictional, but the basic background is reality. In other words, what you're getting is fiction, even though the background is based on some kind of reality. CNN was going broke until they had the Gulf War.
Oh, yeah, they really changed the game. That was a game changer.
Yeah, and then after that, you know, what are you going to do with News 24/7? You look at a burning log cabin. Charles, what do you think happened? I don't know, Alan. Well, Charles, you think maybe so-and-so? Well, maybe, Alan, it did. How about this? Maybe this is what happened. Well, what do you think? I don't really know, but maybe that's it.
Yeah, a lot of that do go on. Yeah.
All that mess goes on. Speculation. It's not news. It's just to keep you in suspense, waiting.
Hello, Judge, you breaking up?
In other words, it's to keep you enthralled, anxiously awaiting developments.
But it's like what Malcolm said, it's a form of propaganda though at the same time. Like you said, they don't report. I think there's a lot of things going on in the world, but they decide to report on certain things and to mischaracterize certain, like yellow journalism, like what they did with the Spanish American War, or William Randolph Hearst.
Exactly.
Yellow
journalism.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
There?
Yeah, you were breaking up. It's like they're playing with the phone or something. Just go ahead. You talking about yellow journalism? Hello, Judge? Yeah, I couldn't hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, well,
It's kind of breaking up now. It's kind of breaking up. What's going on? Hello? Hello, Judge? Let me see. See if I can move around.
Let me check. Hold on.
Okay.
Wi-Fi is active.
Okay, I can hear you now. I think that, there's stuff going on. They listen to our conversations and stuff.
Well, you know what it is?
What?
I can see lightning outside. That's probably it.
Okay. I can hear you now, like you in the room with me, but okay. You talking about yellow journalism?
Yeah. William Randolph Hearst, yellow journalism. In other words, it was to keep his circulation up. That was an early tabloid journalistic type thing.
Right.
But see, that's become mainstream now. Damn near all of it's like that.
I don't look at news no more, but you know how I get the news is people like they'll inbox me or text me or something like that or something going on, and I'll just do some research on it. But there's so many distractions. Like you said, it's bread and circuses. It's not really about truth finding or informing and empowering people with the truth or facts. It's about misleading people and manipulating people's emotions more than likely.
And see, here's the other thing, too. What could black people do if they were in a position to run all of the media in the United States for 50 years?
We do the same thing they're doing now out there.
No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have the sense to do it.
Oh, we wouldn't have the sense to do it.
I mean, theoretically we could, but they are doing it. See, remember, 85 to 90% of everybody that's in this industry of news, entertainment, etc., is one of these Skittles people, feel the rainbow.
Right.
They have their rights, but they're pushing an agenda, and they control the propaganda engine.
That's true. Like, what do you think about this women's soccer team situation when they say they want equal pay as the man soccer players? Should they get it?
They want to get what now?
I think they want equal play. I mean, equal pay. They just won the World Cup, and they've been winning a lot. Over the last couple of years, more so than the men.
Let's be honest.
Okay.
Their draw is not the draw that men's soccer has. All right.
Even with all the wins, though, I mean, the men's soccer have not come close.
So, yeah, but who cares?
Okay.
I mean, I'm just being cold-blooded about it.
Yeah, that's right.
The average soccer fanatic around the world doesn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is bad because I know they have equal rights and all. What they are raising is not as good as it once was.
Mm.
So these distractions from your primary task are not good. Just like boys are getting distracted from the primary things to being men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somewhere in the last 50 years, motherhood has fallen because you aren't producing grown children that act like they ought to. Maybe the guys are at fault too, some ways, yeah, but a lot of them never were in the family. So if they had nothing to do with the raising of the child, you know, and women, I don't get it these days. I used to ask them, I said, look, did anybody rape you? No. Well, you had 7 children. Nobody raped you. You spread your legs. You knew what was supposed to happen, at least after the first one, didn't you? So why did you put yourself in that predicament? Well, you called him a no good lying in dog. You know, that's what you called him the first one. The second one, not the third one, but the fourth and fifth one. If you're dealing with all these lying in dogs, why did you believe the okey doke in each case?
Wow.
Didn't you get it? Keep your legs.
Oh, Judge, you break it up. What are you saying?
I said, women, look, you can keep your legs closed, and if you're not, use some kind of effective birth control.
Right.
You know, that's like, don't eat candy, it'll cause your teeth to rot. Well, I like candy. Don't eat candy, it'll cause your teeth to rot. So if you don't eat too much, you get to enjoy candy, but if you eat too much, you might turn type 2 diabetic and you will get tooth decay.
Mm-hmm.
So whose fault is that if you eat a lot of candy and you got rotten teeth?
That's your fault. You got to take responsibility for your choices.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If you spread your legs and screw and you aren't on birth control, what happens? You get prego.
Oh, yeah. It's going to happen.
He may be a dog and all this other stuff you claim, but you're the one that spread unless you got raped. Maybe you got a mistake one time, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times?
You're right.
And then see, boys who want to be men, if they know something's wrong, they didn't get it. So that means they ought to be about the business of finding out what they missed. Do they? Not often.
All right.
Got enough problems affecting black folk, and you want to go off into wearing your colors, blue, red, whatever the hell it is, and shoot somebody up because you got some beef with somebody that's got nothing to do with a damn thing, except maybe turf in selling drugs, which is spreading poison to your own people.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot, like you said, people got a death wish. They want to be suicided by a cop. A lot of us walking time bombs. Like mental health is still kind of like taboo in our community to talk about getting, seeking mental health and therapy and things of that nature.
There you go.
But it shouldn't be at this point because it's like everybody's on some type of drug, whether it be legal or illegal. People can't just cope with reality. They a lot of escapism, like you said, with the entertainment. It's just like people walk around like zombies a lot of times, it seems. don't want
Well,
to feel
you
any
know
type
what
of
gets
pain or
me?
anything.
You know what gets me? Black folks, man, they legalized marijuana, man. We got to get on that. Why do you need marijuana? Your ass is already trifling and wasting a hell of a lot of damn time, and you want to be glad about marijuana.
Mm.
So you waste more of your own time.
No, you know what? I got to get your opinion, Judge. 'Cause I know you know you strong. You talk about Memphis politics. Now, I did attend the People's Convention back in June. I attended the entire thing. I believe it lasted like over 5+ hours. I sat there and listened to this 20 candidates make their cases and whatnot. And, so several hundred people showed up. What's your take on the Memphis political scene right now? 'Cause I know you said before it's like Sheriff Copper without.
Tammy Sawyer is a fraud. Let me run some stuff down on her.
Okay.
You know, she's supposedly pushing the Black Lives Matter bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, we've talked about all it takes to get these corrupt voting machines passed is a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy Sawyer, sponsor of resolution, county expense resolution, Shelby County operating budget, account number 130620402-7003. Resolution involving expenditure of Shelby County Sheriff Department federal grant funds. $261,384 for an armored vehicle to be paid to a single source provider, Lenco, Lenco, all letters capitalized, for an armored vehicle not to exceed the above amount. Sponsored and introduced by Commissioner Tammy Sawyer. Shelby County operating budget account number 130620402703. Now, remember all that hell she was up there erroneously spreading about that shooting in a district that wasn't even her own?
Oh, so that was not her district. Okay.
Yeah, hollering about Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why in the hell is she trying to get the sheriff's department to spend $250,000 buying a 45-year-old M113 armored personnel carrier? It's got tank tracks. Well, the stated purpose is in case some of the indigenous population, meaning the black folk, get out of hand, they'll be able to restore order.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next thing. You know she is related to Michael Hooks. She's his half-sister, allegedly. Okay, now, she also sponsored the resolution that allowed Van Turner to buy that park where the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue was on without bid for $2,500. She also sponsored the co-resolution that allowed Van Turner to buy that park on the bluff downtown where the Jeff Davis statue is, right?
Mm-hmm.
For $2,500. The property is valued, the two of them, at somewhere over $25 million. So he got $25 million in fee simple absolute for $5,000. And by the way, you know where the statues are allegedly stored?
Where?
One of her relatives, her half brother, is storing it at somewhere around $5,000 a month from the city and county. Ain't that crooked?
Yeah, that's how business is business as usual, right? In Shelby County.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make Boss Crump blush. It sounds like.
Yeah. Now, doesn't that sound a little strange when somebody's talking about ending corruption?
Yeah, I mean it does. I mean, cause like I feel like even like you said about the property, I feel like the sons and daughters of Confederacy or whoever they call themselves should have had a chance to bid on that. It should have been fair and transparent.
Okay, another thing. Why is it that current Mayor Strickland is allegedly contributing campaign funds to one of the candidates for mayor who's supposed to be running against him?
Get the divided black vote.
Yeah, and there's no runoff. And
Mm-hmm.
that person, again, is purportedly Tammy Sawyer.
I just like the thing about the statue and renaming the street signs. I just don't see she has anything to really stand on to really gain the trust of the people to do anything that's going to be effective and in a term. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I was going to say.
Yeah.
Doc Harrington has some unfinished business to lead on from one of his outstanding accomplishments. You know what that is?
What's that?
He's the only mayor in the United States to get firm control of a police department.
Mm.
And what his unfinished business was, he didn't set it up so it would survive him being the mayor, because AC was in and Strickland's in. AC let it go downhill, and Strickland is deliberately trying to keep it down. So there is hostility between the police and the black community.
No, I mean, but Joe, I was thinking about the Brandon Weber Frazier thing. I think the Memphis Police Department should have been applauded for showing restraint, because the U.S. Marshals made that mess and they had to clean it up. And they showed a lot of restraint, and I don't think people give them enough credit for that.
28 officers.
Yeah, I'm saying they could have did a lot of damage to those citizens if they wanted to.
Okay, well, now, let's look at how stupid that was, even what the citizens were upset about.
Okay.
Remember, the police can't do a damn thing to the marshals because the marshals are federal and they have superior jurisdiction. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
These are the U.S. Marshals. Let's take fictitious Marshal, Matt Dillon and Gunsmoke. You going to take that sucker on? Now, let's get with some real U.S. Marshals. Pat Masterson.
Right.
Wyatt Earp.
Mm-hmm.
Elliot Ness. And you going to mess with them? And then your dumb butt has got 5 outstanding interstate murder warrants on you. And you get on the social media with some guns you're displaying, describing how you're going to trap and set up the marshals if they come after you. And then you get into a chase with them, and you run 2 of them off the road, and then you jump out the car with these same weapons, you're going to get done in.
But people say he was an honor student, though, from Central High School.
Yeah, well, he was a dumb honor student.
And I tell people this. I say, Machine Gun Kelly went to Central High School too back in the day. I'm just saying. That don't mean nothing going to school.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Central, but he got caught. They caught him peacefully though. He said, "Don't shoot G-Man," but he was known Machine Gun Kelly.
But didn't Elvis Presley go there too?
Oh, he went to Humes. Elvis went to Humes in North Memphis.
Yeah, but Machine Gun Kelly went to
the Central
High.
Yeah. That's fun to think about, but I mean,
by the way,
he
didn't mess with them federal agents.
No, he said, "Don't shoot G-Man." What they say, he said, right? Just don't shoot.
Yeah, he surrendered.
But he had a reputation for being a killer or a kidnapper and robber. And all. He had a well-known reputation.
But he surrendered.
Yeah, he did. He did surrender.
And this other fool jumped out the car with the guns, and he'd been on social media saying he was going to use the gun down some U.S. Marshals.
Well, do you think that the U.S. Marshals? My thing is, I feel I don't know. Did the U.S. Marshals notify the Memphis Police Department or the Shelby County Sheriff's Department?
They didn't have to.
I just think it could have ended differently. That's what I was saying. If they got them involved, because they know the area and the people better than they do, because they come from the outside. But I guess they do what they want to do.
Here's what it was. They had interstate warrants on him.
Mm-hmm.
They found him. They apprehended him. They didn't need Memphis Police Department. Federal jurisdiction is superior to the local. as a courtesy, they'll ask, but they didn't need it this time because they had it.
So they were saying, but you think they would have been different and say, hey, we're going to go at this guy who's a citizen of y'all county?
They didn't have, but they didn't, and they don't have to.
I understand what you're saying, but I just think that, I don't know, I just think of things like it could have ended differently. I think it could have brought him in better.
Well, look.
I don't know, Judge. I don't know. Go ahead.
I saw the stuff he had on social media
Mm-hmm.
saying what he was going to do when they tried to get him.
Okay. Well, he made his own, he got his death wish.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, these guys have wives, girlfriends. They're trying to get laid or get a good meal when they get off work. They don't have time to go pamper some fool that's already said he's going to kill them.
But my thing is, like, he got kids, too. They don't say, like, why wouldn't he want to just be there for his children or make children if he's going to go out like that?
Well, then he should have had some goddamn sense and not done what he did. That was ignorant and stupid.
I agree. I mean, but the dude survived, but yeah, it was stupid to do. It was just very arrogant. You know, if he allegedly did that, I don't know. It's kind of murky. For me, it's kind of like that case down in Oxford when the young black woman was killed by the police officer in uniform. And now the family suing Oxford. Yeah, you familiar with it? You know what I'm talking about, right, Judge?
Vaguely. But see, you have to take this. There are so many more cases that don't get reported on.
Right.
Some of them are some wrong situations, some very bad situations. And some of them are just rank stupidity. Like that woman that got just suing an airline because she said they were racist by making her wrap herself up in a blanket.
Oh, really?
She's got this gaudy one-piece thing on where all of her shoulders and arms are out, is come drooping off her boobs. She does not have a figure. She's overweight, out of shape. It looks ridiculous. It looks like a circus costume. And, yeah, they should have made her put on a blanket to cover herself because it was indecent. The other thing she says, well, I've got a good figure. Why did they make me cover up? No, you don't have a good figure.
Oh, are they confident?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you don't.
Yeah, I've been seeing those, people call them Build-A-Bear bodies out here in the summer. It's not pretty. It made me think about some stuff. Yeah, what it is.
I was at the mall, and I'm walking through, and there's this chick with a halter top on and some booty shorts with her butt cheeks out. But the problem is she weighed almost 300 pounds.
Oh, man. Oh.
That is revolting to look at.
But where did people get their confidence? Like, there's so many people walk around that are pretty with low self-esteem. I mean, there's a lot of people with low self-esteem, but where do people like that get confidence from? The type of swagger and confidence in themselves. That's very, inspiring in a lot of ways.
I tell young brothers it's easier to deal with a beautiful woman than it is with an ordinary-looking one.
Okay, why is that?
Beautiful women actually look in the mirror. And they become their own worst critics. There's a wrinkle here, there is a mole here, a line there, and they get nervous about it, and they're insecure, and everybody that talks to them is talking smack. Yeah, baby. Hey, Slick. Hey, Red. You looking good, baby. Baby, you know you read my mind, what you saying. Oh, fool, come on. And then the rest of the guys that might have a chance are scared to talk to her.
Yeah.
So I say, find a beautiful woman and just carry on a decent conversation, and you will get further than you will with, something else, because the beautiful woman will appreciate you just treating her like a human.
So a lot of kids lack that game. They don't know the art of small talk anymore. Just a lot of people they be in their phones instead of paying attention to what's going on around them.
Well,
being
that's
in the moment.
one bad thing with that whole thing these days about everybody's got their nose in the phone, or they're relying on online dating because they don't know how to meet anybody.
Right.
And these lesbians and these feminists, they've made it so that guys don't feel safe talking to them.
Oh, yeah, Me Too mess. Yep.
Yeah, that hashtag Me Too stuff. Granted, they do have some legitimate complaints, but some of it is just somebody tried to jumpstart their career with sex, didn't work out, and now they're having buyer's or seller's remorse.
But could that be Kamala Harris if it didn't work out with Willie Brown and the other people
Yeah,
allegedly?
it hadn't worked
Allegedly.
out with her. You know, it's like Camilla Harris allegedly. I just talked to somebody around here that said she had a falling out with Camilla Harris because she was just trying to do business with Willie Brown, and Camilla Harris thought she was trying to move on her man who was also married.
Mm-hmm.
And he got her a gig paying $72,000 a year, state of California, for 15 hours a week, part-time gig. And she's in her 20s in school.
Wow.
And then it went up to 120-some thousand a year when she got on for 20 hours a week. You know, so she was screwing somebody that was an athlete, allegedly, basketball player, football player, supervising attorney with the DA's office up in San Francisco. If she hadn't been successful, she'd be hollering #MeToo.
You know what I'm saying? But people, like, they brush over there. And then also, like, is she eligible to be president? Because both of her parents are not from here. They were born somewhere else.
Born in San Francisco. So
oh, that's what they say. Like, they going to go along with that. They ain't going to do no birth account, like what they did Obama.
She supposedly was born in San Francisco and grew up in Canada.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, this is Obama exotic mess.
Well, no, see, the thing, I tell people this.
Mm-hmm.
Read the Constitution. It's less than 10 pages in a pamphlet.
Mm-hmm.
And the Constitution sets forth what constitutes citizenship in one section. In a later section, when they start talking about eligibility for being a president, they put some restrictions on it.
Mm-hmm.
To be president, you have to be born in the continental United States, a territory or protectorate of the United States. You have to be born in a consulate or embassy, a military, naval, or air base. If you're born in Puerto Rico, American Virgin Islands, Samoa, American Samoa, etc., you can be president. But Cruz and the media didn't even mention it. Freely admits he was born in Canada, but that makes him ineligible to be president, yet he was the Republican runner-up in their primary.
That's insane.
That's what they were getting on Obama about.
Because Arnold Schwarzenegger could be president then. If Cruz was going to be president, Schwarzenegger could have ran then.
Yeah, but he was born in Austria.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But if they allow him to be president, I'm saying, well, Schwarzenegger could have done.
The other thing is neither of his parents were American citizens.
Who, Ted Cruz?
Yeah. No,
Schwarzenegger, right. But Ted Cruz did work for the CIA, is that true?
What's that?
Did Ted Cruz did work for the CIA? Was he friends with Lee Harvey Oswald? They got that picture that Trump talked about. They showed.
Stepdaddy, adopted daddy, committed many murders for the CIA.
You talking about Obama's dad? Oh, Sotoro.
No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He ran the death squads for the Indonesian army. See, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They misconstrue what Obama Gate was about, Birthgate was about.
Okay.
See, what the deal is that he is an American citizen. Nobody contested it because his mama's an American citizen.
Right. Okay.
The question was he born in Indonesia? And they came up with saying he was born in Hawaii.
Okay, you breaking up, Joe. I can't hear you breaking up. Hello? The Judge Brown? Judge.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you now. It was breaking up. Like, so you talk about Obama, that's when they want to break up.
Okay, yeah. His mom, so he's born. Was he born in any of these?
I can't even hear. Judge breaking. It's still breaking up.
Was he born in any of these places that make you eligible for being a U.S. president?
Okay.
Now, here's what struck me as strange about the whole situation. If you want a birth certificate from the state of Tennessee or Hawaii, if you're born in Hawaii, or here, all you got to do is give them a call or go online, and you can get a birth certificate on the way in 24 hours.
Right.
He was in the White House for 2 years before he came up with one from Hawaii. What time was that? And he's the president. He can't get a birth certificate for priority purposes as president of the United States?
Well, you know, the same thing with Trump didn't show his tax returns to become president, which is interesting.
But that's not required. That's not the law.
That's not the law, yeah.
Form that you fill out. He filled that out under oath. By the way, Hillary lied on hers. She said she got 13-some million of that Goldman Sachs helped her raise. Those released emails show she got twice that, 26 million. That's perjury. She should be indicted because you make that affidavit of disclosure under penalties of federal perjury. But there's no law that says a president has to file his reveal his tax return.
Okay. Okay. That's
it's confidential unless you waive it.
Well, you know, people don't. A lot of us don't. Like you said, the Constitution is like basically like 10 pages, right? How many Americans you think actually read the Constitution? How many of you think actually will read that? The percentage that knows that is like just 10 pages. We don't care. We don't know about the law until we get in trouble a lot of times, if we learned at all.
Yep. Okay, like, for example, there's a big brouhaha about the U.S. military going to hollow point pistol bullets, right?
Okay, yeah.
Well, the Geneva Convention, more than 100 years ago, declared that hollow point bullets for pistols is illegal, right?
Okay.
For the Nuremberg trials after World War II, the United States pushed the point that even if a country was not signatory to the Geneva Convention, the aspects and protocols had been part of international law so that it was binding on everybody. So how could we say we want to push hollow point bullets? We didn't sign the Geneva Convention. Well, guess what Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution says? The Commander-in-Chief in the Armed Forces, quote, shall enforce the law of nations, unquote. What the hell is it but the law of nations if there's a massive claim to the Geneva Convention about rules of war? How in the hell are you going to deviate from that without violating the Constitution? But these bozos have never read it.
Yeah, it was like the blind lead the blind. It's an idiocracy for real.
Yeah, exactly. War on terror. The war on terror. We must fight terror. The international war on terror. There's no goddamn such thing as a war on terror. You can't fight an idea. Declare war on an idea. You got to have a sovereign entity to declare war on. But Article 1, Section 8 again basically says it's up to the Navy to pursue, eradicate, and suppress piracy wherever found upon the high seas. Further in the Constitution, it says the supreme law of the land is the Constitution, laws passed by Congress to enforce the Constitution, basically, in such treaties as have been ratified by the Senate. Well, there are quite a number of treaties that declare hijacking airplanes to be piracy. Nobody anticipated almost 250 years ago, 40 years ago, that there would be things called airplanes, right? So on 9/11, 4 airplanes got hijacked. That's piracy. So Article 1, Section 8 basically says suppress, eradicate, piracy, etc., wherever found in the world, or upon the high seas, or in the world. So what is actually going on is not fighting terror, war on terror. It's suppressing and eradicating piracy. The Marine Corps hymn says, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. What's that about? Well, the Marines with the Navy, way back in 1806, went to the Mediterranean and invaded Tripoli to suppress the Barbary pirates who were preying upon American shipping. There you go. So who goes after bin Laden? The Navy SEALs. The Navy is supposed to suppress, eradicate, and pursue piracy wherever found in the world. See, but nobody talks about that. You haven't heard one of these ignorant asses on the mainstream media talk about it.